men's basketball takes on the #1 team in the nation. Softball kicks off their season, and the XFL picks up where the NFL left off. All this and more coming up on College Press Box. Welcome, good evening, and welcome to College Press Box, the most comprehensive sports show on the 40 acres. I'm your host, Emmy Basman, joined alongside my co-host, Robert Trevino. How are you doing, Rob?
I'm good. How are you doing, Emmy?
I'm good.
All right, we now go live to the Frank Irwin Center where our very own Jake Herman and Matt Marinchak are standing by ahead of tonight's men's basketball game against #1 ranked Baylor. Jake and Matt, take it away.
Thanks, Robert and Emmy. I'm Matt Marinchak here with Jake Herman at the Frank Irwin Center. The atmosphere is electric tonight. You got the #1 team in the country, the Baylor Bears, come in and take on the Longhorns. What do you think, Jake? What do you think is going to happen tonight?
Yeah, well, the stadium's empty now, but just about 90 minutes it'll be filled with screaming fans, probably many in burnt orange and a few donning the green and yellow as well. Look, I think it's one of the biggest games of Texas this season. Anytime #1 comes into town, you have to defend your home court on the national stage, and Texas, for them, this is one of their last chances for a big resume-building win.
Yeah, so speaking of resume-building wins, Texas didn't get one on Saturday against Texas Tech. Up early, but then they slowly collapsed as they've been doing the last few games. So what do you think happened to cause them to lose this last weekend?
Yeah, it's a troubling pattern for Texas, Matt. You hinted at it. They've struggled to play complete games over the course of the season. Really, down the stretch, they failed to keep up the same defensive intensity and offensive creativity that gets them into these late game situations with a chance to win the game. And if Texas has a chance to win this game late tonight, they have to seize it.
Yeah, because we've seen this in the last few games against Kansas, against Texas Tech, against Oklahoma. They have these leads, and they just don't hold on to them. And I think that Texas Tech, there were a lot of factors going on into that game. You got key losses. Jericho Sims, he fouls out. Jace Febres, he gets injured. Kai Jones, he gets injured. So Kai Jones and Jace Febres, they're both great defensive players. Who needs to step up tonight and take their place?
Yeah, well, without the rim protector of Kai Jones and with the worry of foul trouble with Jericho Sims, it'll be up to the Texas guards, I think, to stay in front of their men, stop the Baylor guards from slashing their way to the paint tonight. They did a poor job of that in the second half against Texas Tech, where the Red Raiders were charging into the post and dishing it off for an easy two. The Longhorns simply have to stay tight on the shooters and play close on the ball.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. I think someone like Royce Ham or Kamaka Hepa needs to step up. Both of them have proven that once they get to the inside the paint, they could lock down defenders, but they just haven't been getting a lot of opportunity. And if you look at the offensive side of the ball, Jace Febres is a prominent three-point shooter. Who needs to step up and start getting the ball rolling?
Well, obviously, Febres is a big loss. Three-point shooter from the corner that can really be capable of stretching out a defense. And it's so important, Matt, that the Longhorns stretch out the Baylor defense tonight, because if they don't, if the Bears don't respect the Longhorns' ability to shoot the three-pointer, it's going to be tough sledding offensively. Baylor is very good at protecting the rim inside. So I'm looking at Courtney Ramey to get his three-point shot going and draw out the Baylor defense, make them overextend a little bit, and open up some possibilities for the Longhorn offense.
So I have to agree with you. Courtney Ramey, he's been kind of inconsistent, but if he gets hot, and along with Andrew Jones getting hot, Matt Coleman getting hot, Texas could potentially take this upset tonight. What do you think? What else do you think Texas needs to do to pull the upset against Baylor?
I think they need to have very smart shot selection. I think Baylor is a team that is very capable of making you pay for a hasty shot, and Texas, a team that has been prone at times to maybe hoisting up a hasty three-pointer early in the shot clock. They absolutely cannot afford to do that tonight against #1 in the country. Baylor will run out in transition at will if Texas forces up early three-pointers.
Yeah, I think Baylor is this kind of team that they don't have one main guy that they get their offense through. They have multiple guys, and they're prominent shooting at threes. They're up at 35%, and then from the field, they're shooting around 48. But these are all guys that could get hot at a moment's notice. And Texas also needs to win the rebounding battle because they've been struggling with that lately. Jericho Sims gets fouled out again, or in the loss of Kai Jones. If Baylor wins the rebounds, they're going to win this game.
Yeah, I agree with you, Matt. Texas cannot afford to give Baylor any kind of second chances at the bucket in this game. No easy buckets, because Baylor will get the tough buckets. We've seen it all season. Baylor has built up the best resume in the nation. They're a deserving #1 team, and it's really a testament to their balance and strength on the ball. Guys like Jarrett Butler, Maceo Teague, Freddie Gillespie, they can hurt you from the outside in as well as the inside out. Baylor is not going to be a team that's going to go through an early scoring drought like Texas Tech. There's just too many weapons offensively. Texas will have to win this game through the hustle plays and the rebounds.
Yeah, I agree with you there. So do you think that Texas has a chance of winning tonight?
Well, anytime you're playing at home, you have a chance. And, Texas has proven that they can stick with these tough teams, these top programs late on into the game. The question will be whether or not they can finish and whether or not they carry the defensive intensity throughout the game. Tonight, I think the Bears will be a little too much for the Longhorns to handle. Not that it won't be a close game. I got the Bears by 10.
I want to say the Baylor's not going to win by that much, but I think Texas is going to get ahead early like they've been doing the last few games, but something's going to happen during halftime that they're going to slip, and Baylor's going to start gaining momentum. I think they're going to win a close one, maybe 3 points.
What would this do for the Texas program, though, Matt? What would this do, a win tonight against number 1 in the country? Do you think we would see a court storming?
I would hope that the fans would storm the court if they beat the number 1 team, but Texas fans they don't have a history of storming the courts after big wins. But I think this game, if they could win a game like this could definitely change the course of their season.
It could, and big if could. Remember all this talk about court storming, dependent on a Texas win. We'll see if they can get it done against the number 1 Bears. Back to you, Robert and Emmy.
Thanks, Jake and Matt. When we come back, Henry Corwin will take us down to the Diamond to recap softball's first weekend of the season. You won't want to miss it.
Welcome back to College Press Box. This weekend, Texas softball took to the Diamond for a home matchup against Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Our very own Henry Corwin was at McCombs Field.
After a bitter 3-game series loss against Alabama in last year's Super Regional, the Longhorns have begun this season looking hungry and determined. The Texas Longhorns look to complete an undefeated 6-0 weekend against Texas A&M Corpus Christi on Sunday. On a rainy afternoon where the game was close to not even happening, the Longhorns rewarded their loyal fans who attended with an incredible offensive showing. Coming up big for the Longhorns on Sunday was none other than senior Miranda Ellis, whose grand slam in the bottom of the second widened the gap and gave Texas a 9-1 lead that they would not relinquish, giving them their coveted, undefeated opening weekend.
It was really awesome, and I'm really happy with how I did and how my teammates did. I mean, we put 12 plus runs, 10 plus runs up every single game, and that's a testament to how hard we've worked this offseason, what Coach Singh has done for us, and the entire coaching staff. We're just really playing for each other now, and it's really, really fun. I think everyone on our team at least got a hit this weekend. I think that's really cool. Everyone performed, everyone made outs. So this weekend was a total team effort, and I just think as a team, we knew that we were good. I think we surprised ourselves, but I think we're very grounded and ready to take on our next challenge.
The Longhorns will be back in action this Thursday at the Puerto Vallarta College Challenge in Mexico against California Baptist. From Red and Charlene McCombs Field, I'm Henry Corwin, TSTV Sports.
Welcome back. We're joined with Raul and James. How are you guys doing?
Doing good. Happy to be here.
So we're going to be talking a little bit of softball and baseball tonight. So my first question for you guys are, kicking off the season with softball, what are your expectations for this season?
So right off the bat, I think the Longhorns softball team is going to be a formidable opponent, just like they were last year. I think they're going to be able to win the Big 12, possibly, and also make their presence known in the nation, making it the top 10. The Big 12 coaches poll had them listed as second in the conference behind Oklahoma, helping the Longhorns with the fact that they're keeping stars from last season, like senior pitcher Miranda Ellis and junior second baseman Janae Jefferson, both of All-Americans, with the additions of freshman Grace Green, who was listed as the number 10 overall on the extra innings softball's Elite 100 list, and pitcher Courtney Day, who finished her senior season with an impressive 12 doubles, 10 home runs, and 43 RBIs. The talent on the roster looks to be at a similar level to last year, despite losing a couple players, and I think the Longhorns can get past some tough interconference matchups against Oklahoma, Texas Tech, and Kansas. They're going to be in perfect position to take the Big 12 and establish themselves on the national stage.
Yeah, Raul makes a good point. I mean, you talk about some of the teams that they're going to have to play in conference play, and you really, when you look at this team, though, they're built to not only win the Big 12, but even make it to Oklahoma City at the end of the year. Raul mentioned Miranda Ellis, and she's probably one of the best players in the country. She can do it on the mound and at the plate. As we saw this past weekend in the Texas Classic, she struck out 18 batters in just 10 innings pitched. Crazy numbers on the mound. Also at the plate, she tallied 4 home runs, 17 runs driven in. And now her batting average is a whopping .818 through 6 games at the start of this season. So Ellis can do it all, like we said, on the mound, at the plate, and this team goes as she goes. So in order for Mike White in his second season as the head coach for Texas softball to lead this team to Oklahoma City, Ellis and a lot of these other key players for the Horns are going to have to step up throughout the season.
Right, that kind of goes into my next question too. So looking at these players and like Miranda Ellis, so who do you think are the standout players? Who are the ones to watch for this season? For baseball now, we're gonna switch over to baseball.
Going from one diamond to the other,
One
right?
diamond to the other.
There we go.
A little bit of a mix-up. So
Yeah.
for baseball, who are some standout players? So since we touched on softball earlier.
Well, I'll say, Emmy, there's definitely a few of them. I'm going to start out with sophomore pitcher Ty Madden.
Okay.
He's a righty. He had a pretty strong freshman season, as you see up there on the screen. He had a total 3.40 ERA, 4-1 record, but he had some notable games also during his freshman season. Actually, the beginning of March last season, the Horns were on the road at Stanford, and Ty pitched 7 shutout innings of baseball to go along with 7 strikeouts, which was very impressive. Obviously, Stanford, formidable opponent around college baseball, so great job there. Also, another key game of his freshman season against West Virginia later in the year, where he went 6 innings, 1 run given up, and 6 strikeouts. So he's a proven, he knows he can get out there, get after it. Cypress Ranch product, you know, he did really great in high school. So I'm looking for him to build off that strong freshman season and do it again in his sophomore year. And then also, we're going to go to the plate now. Cameron Williams, the redshirt junior, he transferred from San Jacinto College, JUCO just outside of Houston, and he actually led the Gators on offense last season with San Jack. He hit 341. Had 8 home runs and 37 RBIs, all led the team. So he's obviously going to provide a boost at the plate for Texas. And it's something they've been missing. Obviously, last season was a disappointment overall, and a lot of those struggles could have been attributed to a lack of power at the plate, and just someone to drive in a bunch of runs. So he also can do it on the base paths. He was second for the Gators last season in walks and stolen bases with 39 and 12 respectively. So I expect Cam to show up, provide a boost offensively, and hopefully help this team win some games this year.
So I'm going to compound on that. You talked about last year's kind of lackluster season. One of the bright spots of that season is pitcher Bryce Elder. He's a righty.
Yes.
This guy had 86 strikeouts during the year. He was an all Big 12 second-team starting pitcher. You see there, he was second on the team in ERA with 2.93, 86, led the team. He had great games against Xavier where he shut them out through 6 innings. Against LSU, he allowed only 1 earned run through 6 innings and led the Longhorns to their first win of that year. As a junior, Elder's going to be a veteran presence on this Longhorn team with a lot of recruits coming in at the pitcher position. He's going to come in against tough opponents, and you know that he can get things done. So definitely look out for him this season to try to improve on last year's performance. The other guy who I got, this guy's a favorite of mine, Eric Kennedy, led the team with a batting average of .310 as a freshman. He was named to the Big 12 all-freshman team, and Kennedy was a force on offense, scoring 41 runs throughout the season with an additional 28 runs batted in. You see there, he ranked first on the batting average, home runs, 2 home runs, 5th in the team. Still did pretty well. Coming into his sophomore year as a Longhorn, you can only expect him to get better and help out this young team as they look forward to capitalize on what was a pretty down year.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, Elder definitely, I was just going to say, another upperclassman to provide that guidance for the Horns. And then, like Raul talked about, Kennedy, another good bat in the lineup.
Right.
So,
So going off these standout players, let's talk about the new recruits and some freshmen. So can you guys elaborate on some of those?
Yeah, we're fired up. I mean, there's some studs in this incoming class. I'm going to start out talking about Trey Faltine. This kid's a freshman out of Richmond, Texas. And he actually played for Team USA, their under U18 team, under 18. But, you know, a lot of baseball analysts and experts have him as one of the top 2-way players in his class out of high school. So Texas obviously getting a good one with him. But me and Raul were talking about before the show, you know, he can play any position. They'll be able to plug him in anywhere they want this season. He pitched in high school. We know he can do that. And then he brings a good bat to the plate. He's a very good contact hitter, not as much power, but he makes up for it with his athleticism. So we're definitely going to, there you go, exactly, versatile. So he'll be a strong point definitely in that incoming class. And he's also 6'2", 195 pounds. So he doesn't look or play like a freshman, but there you go.
And I'll just tell you one name right now, Andre Duplantier II. This guy's another Texan coming out of Humble, Texas.
There you go.
His stats aren't so humble, though. He led the school to the most wins in school history, putting up a whopping 90 strikeouts in his senior year on the mound, earning him a spot as a unanimously chosen first-team All-District pitcher. You know, adding to his impressive resume, he wasn't only a pitcher, he was a shortstop and a third baseman his senior year. He's probably one of the most versatile guys in this, pretty amazing recruiting class.
No doubt.
And look to him to come in. He's a really solid righty pitcher, and he's going to really be one of the bases for the upcoming years in the Longhorns.
I agree. Yeah, a lot to look forward this year. And Raul, the Longhorns going to get the season started this weekend at Rice. 2020 campaign starts Friday night, so hopefully they'll be looking good. We're excited.
I think it's safe to say that this team is looking versatile. So thank you so much, Raul and James. Next up, John is going to take us into the Football League, the XFL. So stick around. Thank you.
Welcome back to College Press Box. Last year, we saw the creation of a new football league, the AAF, only for that league to shut down before the end of its first season. Now the XFL is giving it its best shot. Our very own John Kelly has the coverage from week 1 of this new league on this week's Unhooked. John?
Thanks, y'all. Last week, the Super Bowl brought the NFL to a close, but luckily for football fans, the XFL is here to save the day. A reincarnation of the failed league from 2001, the league promises fun football with newer rule changes to improve the fan experience. Here are some highlights from the first 2 games. First up, DC Defenders, Seattle Dragons. Here we get to see the new kickoff format where both teams don't rush at each other until the ball is received or hits the ground first. Get a nice play by DC. They get the ball, they begin to rush down the field with a nice first down play here. Unfortunately, that won't help them as the first points in the XFL are a field goal. Here, Seattle has the ball now with a nice first down. In the XFL, they also use college rules for completions where only 1 foot is needed to complete. Then QB Brandon Silvers fires one to Austin Prohl for the first ever XFL touchdown. Seattle fails to get the 1-point conversion. DC with the ball now. He's trying to scramble, gets the first down, but that doesn't help them. Seattle has the ball, but then DC, Raheem Moore, intercepts the ball. After opportunities squandered by both, Seattle tries to punt away, but no, DC blocks the punt for their first touchdown of the night. Later, with just over 1 minute left in the half, Kenneth Farrow both receives a catch and rushes for crucial points for Seattle to make it down the field. Then Trey Williams of Seattle catches the ball, jukes that guy, he falls on the ground for a nice touchdown. After a lucky kickoff, DC is able to get a field goal just before the half. Second half, DC handoff to Jarrell Presley for a nice first down. Next, Jones looking deep pass to Eli Rogers for a nice pickup. Then from the 30, a beautiful triple reverse going deep. Conley, he could go all the way. Touchdown, DC. They'll also get the extra point there. Seattle now with the ball. Silvers passes to Prohl, who puts on the Jets for a nice 57-yard touchdown. Next, DC tries down the field, gets a touchdown. What an exceptional play there. Seattle tosses on the field, no. DC gets the ball back again, bring it all the way back down, leading to the end. DC 31, Seattle 19. Our next game of the day is Houston Roughnecks versus the Los Angeles Wildcats. Here we get to see another kickoff, this time with a beautiful drive by DC. And then they also get a 50-yard pass to Cam Phillips for a touchdown, but they failed to convert the extra point there. LA then takes control of the ball with a nice flip. Kermit Whitfield rushes to the Houston 29 for a 19-yard pickup. Then another 19-yard pickup with a pass to Nelson Spruce. The QB, Charles Knopf, then keeps it rushing for a touchdown. And the Wildcats will go on to get the first 2-point conversion in the XFL. After some uneventful drives by both Los Angeles and Houston, LA takes the reins in the middle of the second to produce momentum. Receptions by both Spruce and Whitfield, culminating in a touchdown by Jordan Smallwood and an unsuccessful 2-point conversion. Houston then takes the ball. Look at those biceps. Houston then takes the ball, and with a stunning catch by Sammy Coates for 23 yards. Then, is PJ Walker in trouble? Nope, he tosses it to James Butler, who evades defenders for a nice touchdown and an attempt at the TDECU stadium lead. Trying to take some momentum away from Houston, LA makes some long gains down the field, but unfortunately have to settle for a field goal. Unluckily for Los Angeles, on the ensuing kickoff, James Butler again gets an exceptional 62-yard return, leading to a beautiful touchdown pass for 39 yards to Sam Mobley, which will take us into halftime. In the fourth quarter, Dietrich Nichols gets the ball, runs it back. DC tossing it down the field, an exceptional 40-yard gain, and they toss it into the end zone to James Butler. And they later on in the quarter, they get a field goal, adding on to their advantage. Then Seattle trying to make a comeback, throws. DC says no. Dietrich Nichols gets the interception, leading to a DC ball. Then Houston makes some incredible drives down the field with plays by Kayla Lewis. And again, James Butler, resulting in a touchdown, leading Houston 37, Los Angeles 17. Los Angeles already fired their defensive coordinator. In my opinion, XFL will reap benefits for players, fans, and the NFL. Players who might not have been NFL caliber when they graduated college now have the ability to hone their skills. Fans get more football, and the NFL gets a development league of their own and a proving ground for new rules. In my opinion, if the XFL stays successful, everyone will benefit. Back to y'all.
Thanks, John. When we come back, Texas basketball takes on the defending national runner-up this past weekend in Austin. They're legit going. They're legit. For the last time tonight, welcome back to College Press Box. This Saturday, Texas men's basketball was at home for a matchup against Texas Tech. Our very own Clark Dalton was at the Frank Irwin Center for the game. Let's send it to Clark.
It was a 5-point loss for the Longhorns in their matchup against Texas Tech on Saturday. These 5 points highlighted the troubling trend of the Longhorns season. The bitter conclusion was a complete 180 from a promising start. In the first half, Texas could not have played any better. Andrew Jones picked up a 14-point performance that had Texas leading by 12.
Always been confident, even though we didn't make shots in Kansas. Confidence has never left. You know, I was fortunate to hit a couple of good looks that I was getting in the first half, and I just got to continue to be consistent.
Despite Jones' heroics, the Red Raiders started to whittle at the Texas lead. Slowly, Texas Tech's buckets spin the direction of the game. The small swipes started to crack Texas armor as the Longhorns lost the lead. It culminated in the final minute when they were unable to cut a 1-point deficit. These incremental gains ended up making a big difference. These small chunks snowballed out of Texas's hands, changing the tenor of the second half.
It's a gut punch for sure, but if I don't respond, then you can't expect our guys to respond. You know, they're very, very observant, and I think it's our staff's job, it's my job to show them who we're going to be and how we're going to be.
It was sink or swim for Texas, as they were one game below 500 in the Big 12. They hoped this game would be a springboard to improve tournament chances.
There's no faith loss. We know we can compete with any team, and we just have to finish games.
Texas needs fine-tuning, but they're running out of time. From Frank Irwin Center, Clark Dalton, TSTV Sports.
National Signing Day was last weekend, and Texas football checks in with a recruiting class that ranks 9th nationally and #1 in the Big 12 Conference. Some notable pickups in this class include 5-star running back Bijan Robinson from Arizona and 4-star dual-threat quarterback Wakindon Jackson from Texas.
Women's basketball went on the road to Lubbock this weekend, where they took down the unranked Texas Tech Lady Raiders 81-66. Senior guard Shug Sutton led the Longhorns with 20 points, while the staunch Texas defense held the Lady Raiders in check offensively for an impressive road win. The Longhorns now move to 15-7 on the season and have won 6 of their last 7.
The #4 Texas Longhorns men's tennis team took on the #18th ranked Georgia Bulldogs last Saturday at the Texas Tennis Center. Texas won the double point and 3 single contests, with notable performances from 12th ranked Christian Skisgard, Elliot Spitzer, and Seem Woldlieb. The Longhorns clinched a 4-3 win in this top 25 battle.
The #7 ranked Texas women's tennis team finished the ITA National Team Indoor Championship this weekend on a high note, beating #12 Ohio State by a score of 4-3. Senior Bianca Turati gave the Longhorns the clinching point. Texas moves to 6-1 on the year and will be back in action this Thursday for a home match against Air Force Academy.
The #1 ranked men's swimming and diving team finished off their regular season undefeated in Dallas with a 194-101 win over SMU. The 200 medley relay team set a record at 1 minute and 25 seconds. Also setting records were Jack Collins for the 1,000 meters, Drew Kibler with the 200-meter freestyle, Alex Zettel in the 500-meter freestyle, and Austin Katz, Daniel Kruger, Chris Daka, and Maxine Rooney set a record in the pool for the 200-meter relay. The Longhorns will compete for the Big 12 Championships title in West Virginia on February 26th through the 29th.
And the 10th ranked Texas women's swimming and diving team capped off their regular season as well with a win over SMU on Friday evening. Deja vu. Allison Gibson won the 3-meter diving competition with a score of 343.88. Claire Adams won the 100 fly title with a time of 56.09. Another deja vu. The Longhorns will be back in action at the Big 12 Championships in West Virginia on February 26th.
So for this week in Longhorn sports, women basketball plays Iowa State at 7 p.m. on Wednesday. Thursday through Sunday, softball plays at the Puerto Vallarta Challenge, and women's tennis will face off against the Air Force Thursday at 3 p.m. Basketball kicks off the season with a weekend series at Rice, and rounding out the week, Saturday, men's basketball will be at Iowa State at 1 p.m., and women's basketball takes on Kansas at 6 p.m.
That's it for this episode of College Press Box. From all of us here in studio and in Master Control, along with our amazing talent, and from me and Emmy as well. Thanks for watching and have a great week.